as soon as the Swadeshi movement it was created, okay, as soon as the Swadeshi movement it was created, here what do we see is that Swadeshi movement started, the partition was there in the force, and after the partition was there in force, what we are seeing is that there was the December session of the Congress. Now Congress, it was a political party, okay, which was a pan India level political party, and this pan India level political party, what is going to happen is that, okay, when the Swadeshi movement was started, okay, when the Swadeshi movement it is going to be started at that point of time in Bengal, okay, the Congress is going to conduct its session in the Banaras area, and in the Banaras area there was the moderate leader Gopal Krishna Gokhale, who is going to be the president. And in this particular Congress session, okay, the leaders are going to condemn the Bengal partition. Now, just prior to this, let us just understand, okay, there were the moderates and extremists. We have clearly understood that there were moderates and extremists. Now, in those moderates and extremists, what do we understand is that the moderates, they did not like the way the extremists function, that is extra constitutional, and the extremists did not like the way the moderates function, that is constitutional, because the extremists generally felt that moderates could not attain that much from the constitutional mechanisms. So both of them, they were not on good terms. However, they had to be together. That means what I indicate is that within the Congress itself, both the sections were there. Moderate nationalists were also there, extremist nationalists were also there. However, from 1885 till 1905, the moderates in Congress were more. However, from 1905, the number of extremists within the Congress, it was rising. Okay, so that is going to be the scenario. So here, what do we understand? Here, what do we understand is the okay. So here, what do we understand is when the December session is going to be conducted at that point of time, okay, in the Banaras area, okay, then what do we understand here is that in this particular Banaras area, when it is conducted, what can we see is that the Gopal Krishna Gokhale, he is going to be the next president. Okay, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, he is going to be the next president, and he was a moderate leader. So when Gopal Krishna Gokhale, he is going to be the moderate leader, what happens is that in spite of being in spite of the session being presided by a moderate leader, the chairman was a moderate leader, yet the Congress is going to take the decision of supporting the Swadeshi movement. The Congress on its official level, okay, condemned the partition policy of British, and also at this point of time there was the viceroy whose name was Curzon. So Curzon had also taken a lot of policies that were very much reactionary in approach. So here, when such a decision was taken, in that particular decision, what can we understand is that the extremist, okay, the extremist, they were very much happy. Why? Because in spite of the moderates presiding the Congress chairmanship, and the moderates never liked the extremist, yet the moderates supported the Swadeshi and boycott movement. That means that the extremists were doing something good. So because of this, the extremists, they were motivated, and when they were motivated, they then spread the Swadeshi and boycott movement in the other parts of Bengal. Just keep this in mind that up till that point of time, okay, the movement, it was limited to Bengal itself. Okay, it was limited to Bengal. So because of this, the extremists, they are going to spread the movement in other parts of Bengal. And during this point of time only, they are also going to initiate the National Council for Education. I have already explained this up. Okay, in the diversity of the movement. Now what happens is that at that point of time, by the time period of 1906, okay, when now the extremists had spread the Swadeshi and boycott to all of Bengal, now the extremists were of the opinion that the movement, it needs to spread, the movement should spread to the whole of the India. That is, it should spread in the national level if we want to defeat the Britishers, if we want an impact to happen. Why? Because in the previous some time ago, I just mentioned it to you that we boycotted the various British economic products. So when we boycotted the various British economic products, what did we do in that? The Britishers, when they sold the foreign made liquor to India, the Britishers, when they sold the foreign textiles to India, so automatically they were also taxed. The foreign made liquor had certain taxes that when the Indians, or when it was sold in India, some proportion of tax also went into the British treasury at that point of time. So when that thing, when these particular products, they were also a source of income for the British. But now in Bengal, these British products, they were boycotted. So automatically when the people are not purchasing it, so the Britishers are not getting the tax, and that is why it was a loss of revenue for the British. Now when it was a loss of revenue for British, and it was very much negatively hampering the British in Bengal. So when just in Bengal, when the boycott was done, it impacted the British in such a negative level. Imagine if that same thing, same boycott was done at a national level, what level of impact would it have on the Britishers? So the extremist nationalists, they wanted the Swadeshi boycott to spread all over India. But the moderates, they were telling that no, we want you guys to keep the movement limited to Bengal itself. But the extremists wanted it to spread, and they knew that if they want the movement to spread towards the whole of India, that means in the whole of India, so the only party that could help do it was Congress. Because if Congress chairman was an extremist, because we know that every year the Congress had a new chairman. Okay, now it was not like if in this year there was A chairman, the next year there has to be compulsorily B, okay, or C. A cannot preside once again in a continuous manner. That was not the scenario. A could preside in a continuous manner, but it was just that the chairmanship tenure was 1 year. So it was understood that if the Congress chairman, because Congress was a pan-India party, if the Congress chairman was an extremist, that extremist, if told that this particular movement should spread to the whole of India, then the Congress's official goal would be the Swadeshi boycott, and all the members from all of India of the Congress, they would start doing the Swadeshi boycott. So that was the aim of the extremist. So that is why they had decided that in the 1906 session of December of the INC, they wanted an extremist leader to preside the chairmanship of the Congress. However, what is going to happen is that the moderates, because now obviously even in today's time when you see the big parties, what do you understand that those big parties, they are not going to just appoint anybody. It is through voting mechanisms that the party's chairmen are appointed. So similarly at that point of time also there was voting, and in that voting a new chairman was appointed, and that was a new chairman was elected, and that is going to be Dadabhai Nauroji. So Dadabhai Nauroji, he was a person who was a moderate leader. However, Dadabhai Nauroji was respected by all the people. So that is why even the extremists accepted his, and even the particular moderates accepted him. So Dadabhai Nauroji knew that there was a slowly ongoing tussle between the moderate and the extremist. So here, when the Congress session was conducted in the Calcutta area, so the Congress is going to declare its official goal here, and that goal was Swaraj. So Swaraj was declared as the official goal of Congress. However, this Swaraj, it was not mentioned. This Swaraj, it was not explained upon. The Swaraj, for the first time within the Congress Charter, it was mentioned in 1906, but it was not, elaborated upon as to what does Swaraj actually mean. Because when we talk upon Swaraj, my dear friends, just understand this, that the Swaraj, okay, we can divide the Swaraj into two connotations. One Swaraj means Swaraj, it can be interpreted in two manners. The first one is going to be independence. Swaraj means independence. The second means Swaraj means self-government. Okay, self-government, independence means complete independence from the British, whereas self-government, it means that the whole of the administration within India, it was to be taken care by whom? By the Indians, and only the higher authority would be the British. So that was the idea that was being told here. So what do we understand is, here the idea of Swaraj was told, the goal of INC was mentioned as Swaraj, but what would be the meaning of it was not mentioned. So, and apart from this, it was also told that the Swadeshi, the boycott, and the national education was also supported by the Congress officially. Now, when this happened, the moderates, the extremists, their motivation was now at the cloud nine. Why? Because now the extremists were like, the moderates yet and the INC yet has supported our movement of Bengal. Okay, so they are going to be more motivated, and they are going to do the Swadeshi boycott movement in Bengal much more vigorously. And now they were so motivated that now they wanted the movement to go outside Bengal. So through 1906 and 1907, the extremists, they are going to do the movement very much diligently in Bengal. Okay, and simultaneously the Britishers are also watching the movement. Why? Because this Swadeshi boycott, it was creating losses for the Britishers. So during this time period, the extremists were doing it, and the extremists were also telling the moderates that we need to take the movement outside Bengal, whereas the moderates are telling, no, you need to keep the movement within Bengal. So there was the ongoing tussle once again, and now the extremists, they had thought that in the year of 1907 December, when the Indian National Congress session will be conducted, we want an extremist leader to preside on the chairmanship, so that the Swadeshi boycott could spread over to the whole of the country. So here there was the very big tussle that was there, and simultaneously the Britishers were also looking at the scenario. And Britishers at that point of time only, they are going to tell to the Indian nationalists that we are bringing certain reforms. And the moderate sections, now see, here when I tell you, okay, on the reforms, just look at this here. Okay, when we talk on the extremist and the moderates, okay, when we talk on the extremist and the